Good afternoon, children.
Good afternoon.
We have completed the chapter reproductive health, and now we are going to learn a topic from genetics. And the chapter is principles of inheritance and variation. Already you have learned about heredity in class 10. Very briefly, you have learned about heredity in class 10. So let us learn more about principles of inheritance and variation. And genetics, you might have heard about genetics, isn't it? So, genetics deals with inheritance as well as variations of characters among organisms. So, genetics, it deals with the inheritance as well as the variation of characters existing among individuals. So, let us see more about it. Principles of inheritance and variation. As I told you, genetics, it deals with inheritance as well as variation of characters from parents to offsprings. So there'll be some differences between parents and offsprings. Offsprings produced will not be exactly identical to their parents. They will have some characters of their parents. At the same time, they will have some new combination of characters. So genetics deals with the inheritance as well as the variation of characters of offsprings from the parents. And what is inheritance? So we learned genetics is dealing with inheritance and variation. So let us see what is meant by inheritance and variation. Inheritance is the process by which characters are passed from the parent to the progeny. So I told genetics deals with inheritance as well as variation. Some of the characters are inherited from the parents. At the same time, there can be differences in characters in offsprings when compared to the parents. Variation is the degree by which the progeny differ from their parents. In sexual reproduction, the new offsprings, the offsprings produced, they will not be exactly identical to their parents. They'll retain some features of their parents. At the same time, they will have some new combination of characters. So genetic deals with this inheritance and variation. Inheritance is the process by which characters are passed from the parents to the offspring, whereas variation is the degree by which the progeny differ from their parents. Okay, some of the common terms which you should know before we begin the chapter. And in class 10, you have learned about uh, the person who is known as the father of genetics. Who is he? What is his name?
Gregor
Gregor, Gregor Mendel. Gregor Mendel is known as the father of genetics, and he conducted several experiments using certain plants, and he formulated or he put forward the different laws of inheritance. The laws of inheritance also you have learned earlier. And tell me the plants which he used to carry out his experiments. Gayatri, which plants he used to carry out the experiments?
peace.
Peas and the sign garden pea, and the scientific name is Pisum sativum. So he used Pisum sativum to carry out his experiments, and based on the experiments conducted, he put forward the different laws of inheritance which we are following till date. So Gregor Mendel, the father of genetics. Gregor Mendel conducted hybridization experiments. You know what is meant by hybridizing? You know, no, what is meant by cross hybridization, and all you have learned. So it is the process, or Gregor Mendel conducted hybridization experiments using garden peas for 7 years. From 1856 to 1863, continuously he carried out experiments using garden peas. And then he proposed the different laws of inheritance. 7 years he spent carrying out hybridization experiments using the normal garden pea plants, Pisum sativum, and based on the results he got, based on his observation, He formulated or he put forward the different laws of inheritance. Mendel conducted artificial pollination or cross pollination experiments using several true breeding pea lines. So he selected different varieties of pea plants. True breeding means that with respect to that particular character, the same character will be produced generation after generation. So with respect to a particular character, you can call it as true breeding, or else you can say you know what is homozygous and heterozygous condition with respect to a gene. Do you remember what you learned in 10th standard? If both genes are identical, then you call it as homozygous condition. If the two genes are not similar, not identical, then you call it as heterozygous condition. So true breeding plants means, for example, you take the case of a true breeding tall plant. So they will be having the genes for tallness in the homozygous condition, and generation after generation, if you self-pollinate it, they'll produce only tall plants. Similarly, true breeding with respect to a dwarf plant means they'll be homozygous for the gene responsible for dwarfness, and you keep on self-pollinating it for years, for several generations, they'll continue to produce only dwarf plants. We have to carry out self-fertilization. So they'll continue to produce the same type of plants. They are homozygous. The genes responsible for that particular character is in the homozygous condition. Okay, so Mendel conducted different experiments, hybridization experiments. Artificially, he was pollinating. So he selected two plants, and you know, you have learned about the different I think this year you have to learn. I think you have not learned. Emasculation and all you have not learned, no? Have you learned? Yes, okay. So, first chapter we learned, no? Sorry, second chapter we have learned. Okay. So here, Mendel carried out cross-pollination or artificial pollination. So he select two desirable varieties of pea plants. Pollen will be collected from one of the plant and it will be dusted on the other plant after removing it. So one plant he will select as male plant. The other plant will be selected as female plant. And from that, from one of the plant which you're selecting is female parent, the anthers will be removed. Okay, you know, pea plant is bisexual. It will have both male and female reproductive parts. So he selected for carrying out cross pollination. One plant will be selected as, it is bisexual, no? Both male and female reproductive, stamen as well as pistil, both are present. So one plant will be selected as the female parent. From that, anthers will be removed, and then the plant from where, the plant which we have selected, which he has selected as male parent, from there pollen grains will be collected and it will be dusted on the female parent, and then as you have learned, it will be covered with a polythene bag to prevent contamination by unwanted pollen, and then it will be allowed to uh, carry out pollination, fertilization, and the seeds formed will be collected. Okay. So that is how cross pollination was carried out. And removal of anthers, you call it as emasculation. I'll repeat all the points, not to worry. So Gregor Mendel, he carried out hybridization experiments using garden peas continuously for 7 years, 1856 to 1863. And based on the results he got, he proposed the different laws of inheritance, which we'll be discussing later. And Mendel conducted. So what experiments he carried out? He carried out cross pollination or artificial pollination experiments using several true breeding pea varieties. True breeding, I told you what is meant by true breeding. With respect to a particular character, if the pea plant has to be considered as true breeding, they should have genes, similar genes, genes in the homozygous condition with respect to that particular character. Not to worry if you're not following. As we learn about mono and dihybrid cross, it will be clear. A true breeding, it is given here, a true breeding line is the one that shows stable trait inheritance even when self-pollinated continuously for several generations. For example, a true breeding tall plant. Take the case of a true breeding tall plant. So that plant, if you keep on self-fertilizing this, not cross-fertilization, if you self-pollinate or self-fertilize it for any number of generations, they will produce only tall plants because the genes for tallness is in the homozygous condition in that plant. Okay, such plants are true breeding. Similarly, you can take any character, a true breeding dwarf plant. They will have the genes for dwarfness in the homozygous condition and they will continue to produce only dwarf plants if you keep on self-fertilizing it for years. Are you getting the point? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. And Mendel selected 14 true breeding pea plant varieties in pairs. 7 pairs he selected, which were similar except for one character with contrasting traits. So to carry out the studies, he selected 14 true breeding pea plant varieties and he selected them in pairs. 7 characters he selected, and when you say 7 characters, each character, suppose height, he has chosen height. It will have two versions, tall and dwarf. So 7 characters he selected, and for this 14 plants, 14 true breeding pea plants were selected. They were similar. So when you take them in pairs, for example, height, you took tall and dwarf one in pair, and they differed only in one character, that is height. All the other characters were similar. So in that way, he has selected. He concentrated on 7 characters, one character at a time. In case of mono hybrid cross, I hope you are remembering mono and dihybrid cross, which you have learned in class 10. So he selected 7 characters and 14 true breeding plants were, true breeding pea plants were, pea plant varieties were selected, and these were in pairs. And these, each pair, the members of each pair, they were similar in characters except for one particular character. He selected 7 pairs. So 14 varieties, 7 pairs of true breeding garden pea varieties, Pisum sativum. So here you can see the picture of the plant and Gregor Mendel on the right hand side. And let's see what are the characters he selected. I told 7 characters we selected, but 14 varieties. See, stem height. So that is the first character. Okay, not in any order. I'm just saying the different characters. Stem height. So he selected them in pairs. Tall and dwarf. True breeding tall and true breeding dwarf. So these plants were similar in all the other characters except height. And the second character he chose was flower color. Violet and white flowers. Pea plants producing white flowers were crossed with pea plants producing violet flowers. Then the position of the flower, the third character, axial and terminal. Axial and terminal means, see flowers, see you can see in the picture, axial and terminal flowers, it is shown. Terminal flowers means the leaf, sorry, the plant terminates in a flower. At the tip, you can see a flower. Whereas axial means axil, you know, the angle between the stem and the branch is known as axil. So from the axil only flowers are being produced. You can see the difference. In axial flowers, flowers are produced from the axil, whereas in terminal flowers, flowers are produced at the tip of the branch. So flower position, axial or terminal. Then pod shape, the shape of the pod in which the seeds are produced. That is pod. You can see the picture of pod. Within the pod, you can find the seeds. So pod encloses the seeds. The fourth character he chose was pod shape. See the figure, and inflated and constricted. So in inflated, you cannot find any constrictions there, just smooth and flat, not flat, inflated. Okay, inflated, whereas in the second constricted, you can see some constriction, some serrations you can find over there. So either inflated or constricted. In inflations, you can't find any such constrictions. It's more or less having a flat surface. Then pod color, color of the pod. So he grows plants having green colored pod and yellow colored pod. Then color of the seed, yellow and green. Then seed shape, round and wrinkled. In 10th standard, some of the characters you have learned. That is stem height. In monohybrid crows, we have learned. In dihybrid crows, we had learned the crows between yellow round and green wrinkled seed. So these three are familiar. These two you learned under dihybrid crows. Hope you're remembering. Whereas under monohybrid crows, we learned we learned about the crows made between tall and dwarf plants. So once again, I will repeat the points. Mendel, the specimen which he used for carrying out his hybridization studies or hybridization experiments were pea plants. Pisum sativum is a scientific name, and he selected 14 true breeding pea varieties, and these were selected in pairs, and the members of the pair, they was having similar characteristics except for one character. So here you can see all those 14 varieties in pairs. Height, when height is the characteristic, he selected two varieties, tall and dwarf plant. Flower color, violet and white. Flower position, axial and terminal. Shape of the pod, inflated and constricted. Pod color, green and yellow. Seed color, yellow and green. Seed shape, round and wrinkled. You want any explanation? Further explanation is needed?
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, Nandana?
Ma'am, Mendel, he conducted cross pollination, right?
Ah,
But
cross
true
fertilization
breeding,
experiments, and you
true
know,
breed-
second generation he was self fertilizing also, self fertilizing the pea plants. Yes, Nandana?
but in true breeding, only self-fertilization helps in the next generations to have the same qualities. Right?
I'm not able to hear you clearly. 1 minute. Next, in your textbook only picture is given, explanation I think it's not given over there. Mendel's hybridization experiments you have already learned in chapter 2. So how he carried out the hybridization, cross-pollination, how it was being carried out. Let's see the different steps. Selection of two pea plants. So first of all, he has to select two pea plants, two breeding pea plants having contrasting characters. Contrasting characters means if he is choosing height as the character, then he need two pea plants which differ in those character. That is, one should be tall, the other should be dwarf. So selecting two pea plants with contrasting characters. Then he has to remove the anthers. The removal of anthers, you call it as emasculation. From one plant, he will be removing, he removed the anthers. So from where the anthers are removed, that plant will be taken as the female parent. Okay? From the plant, because pea is a bisexual, pea is having bisexual flowers. So it will have both reproductive organs. So for cross pollination, out of the two selected plants, one should be considered as female and the other will be considered as male. So the plant which he is considering as a female parent, from there, the anthers will be removed. You call it as emasculation. And that is to avoid self-pollination. He want to cross-pollinate. So in order to prevent its own pollen from falling on its stigma, before anther dehisces, the anther will be removed from the female parent. Then pollen grains are collected from the other parent, which you have taken, which he has taken as the male parent, and then it will be dusted on the stigma of the female parent, and then you will bag it again. All that you've learned, bagging, tagging, all that will be done. So after removing the anthers, the plant will be kept covered using a bag, and then The pollen grains from the male parent will be collected. It will be dusted on the stigma of the female parent, and again it will be rebagged. The same procedures which we had learned in chapter 2. So the picture is given in your textbook. Then once fertilization has taken place, collection, collection of the seeds and germinating the seeds to produce the offspring. So from that he find out what are the products formed as a result of cross pollination. So following pollination, fertilization will take place, seed formation will happen, and then these seeds are collected and the plants are raised to see what type of plants are formed. Once again, the different steps involved in the cross pollination methods or cross pollination experiments of Mendel are listed as follows. First of all, two pea plants with contrasting characters are selected. And out of these two pea plants, one is considered as a female parent, the other one is a male parent. The plant which is considered as the female parent, from the flowers, we remove out the anther and cover it with a bag to prevent contamination by unwanted pollen. Then from the female parent, pollen grains are collected, and then these pollen grains are dusted on the stigma of the female parent. It is rebagged, and then it is rebagged, and then pollination will be followed by fertilization. After fertilization, it will result in the formation of seeds, and these seeds are collected and germinated, and he observed the type of offsprings produced. Okay, this is the technique he followed. Now, next we are going to learn about monohybrid cross. He carried out monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross. In monohybrid cross, it involves the cross between pea plants that differ in just one pair of contrasting characters, and a cross involving pea plants with two pairs of contrasting characters. You call it as dihybrid cross. So first, let us learn the inheritance of one gene. So monohybrid cross is a cross involving two plants differing in one pair of contrasting characters. A cross between tall and dwarf pea plant is an example for monohybrid cross. A cross between yellow and green seeds, monohybrid cross. A cross between round and wrinkled seeds, pea plants with round and wrinkled seeds, example for monohybrid cross. A cross between pea plants having violet and white flowers, monohybrid cross. But at a time, if you're considering two characters, for example, a cross between pea plants with yellow round seeds and green wrinkle, then it is dihybrid. Or uh, pea plants having tall pea plants with white flowers crossed with dwarf plants having violet flowers, then it is dihybrid cross. If you're considering two pairs of contrasting characters at a time, it's dihybrid cross. Only one pair of contrasting characters are considered at a time, then it is monohybrid cross. Okay. Children, this topic, those who have base there in 10th, maybe for them it will not be that difficult. But as such, in 10th standard, it was an introduction of genetics and it was a bit confusing for the students. And hope you are not included under that category. So if you have any doubts, clarify it and proceed. This is a lengthy chapter. It's not as easy as the three chapters we discussed. Those three chapters were easy to understand and learn. But these chapters, it is difficult, a bit difficult to understand. It's easy. Once you have understood, you can easily learn it. And don't hesitate to clarify your doubts. Mendel crossed tall and dwarf pea plants to study the inheritance of one gene at a time. Okay, that was about monohybrid cross, and we'll be seeing the details of the same. Okay. So before I proceed, let me sum up or let me get the review from you people. Just start. Meenakshi can start the points what we discussed.
Ma'am, we started with Mendel,
You
Rita
all should
Jahan Mendel.
cooperate with me. I'm struggling to hear your voice clearly. There is some disturbance. I think it's my headset problem. Yes.
We started with Gregor Mendel, who started the hybridization experiments from 7 years, that is from 1856 to 1863. And with the results that he got, he proposed the laws of inheritance.
Okay. Gayatri.
He conducted artificial pollination or cross pollination using the true breeding process.
Selected how many varieties?
40 and 14 plants.
14 varieties, and these were selected in pairs.
Okay, 7 characters.
So they were selected in pairs, and the members of each pair. You're able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
And these pairs, or the members of these pairs, differ except in one particular character. Okay. Then Nandana,
The 7 characters, stem height could be tall or dwarf, the flower color could be violet or white, the flower
the
position,
remaining Donna can say. What are the other characters we discussed? Contrasting characters. How many you said, Nandana?
2 ma'am,
2. Okay, height and which one?
flower color,
Height and flower color, she said. What are the other characters, Donna?
Pot shape
Port
and
shape.
flower
Other
position
type, huh?
and flower position.
No, port shape you said, no? What are the 2 alternative characters you chose? Port shape.
Beaded,
Beaded or constricted?
beaded or inflated,
Inflated,
inflated or bleeded.
inflated or beaded. Then
And
next
flower
one,
position, which can be
flower
axial,
position.
which can be axial or terminal.
Axial or terminal. Then Punya,
Pod color green or yellow.
yes sir. Then
Seed
next one.
color green or yellow.
Okay. Then what else we learn? What is meant by mono hybrid cross, Meher? The cross involving
One character of
one pair of contrasting characters. It's a cross involving 2 pea plants that differ in one pair of contrasting characters. And what are the different steps involved in a cross pollination techniques, experiments? Tanya, what is the first step?
First, anther is removed, emasculation.
Selecting 2 pea plants.
Selecting 2 pea plants differing in their contrasting characters. One
Okay.
contrasting character.
And after that,
Anther is removed to avoid self-pollination. And then pollen grains are collected from males.
removal of anther, what do you call it?
Emasculation.
Emasculation. And that plant, emasculated plant is considered as which parent?
Female parent.
Female parent. And then what is done, Naureen, after that?
The pollen grains are collected from the male parent and it is transferred to the female parent. And then pollination and fertilization takes place. And then seed form.
Okay. Okay, then we'll continue. So I told you in monohybrid crows, only one pair of contrasting characters is considered at a time. So let's see the details of monohybrid crows. Mendel crossed tall and dwarf pea plant. So the character which he has taken was height. So 2 versions of height, tall and dwarf. So he crossed a tall pea plant with a dwarf pea plant to study the inheritance of one gene, the gene responsible for height. To learn the inheritance of the gene responsible for height, he crossed 2 pea plants. That is one which is dwarf and the other one was tall. He crossed a tall pea plant, a pure breeding tall pea plant with a true breeding dwarf pea plant so as to study the inheritance of a gene. He collected the seeds. So after crossing the tall and dwarf pea plants, upon crossing, it will lead to fertilization, formation of seeds. He collected these seeds formed as a result of the cross and he grew them to observe the plants formed by this pollination or this cross pollination, and he called the plants as first hybrid generation or first filial generation or F1 generation. Last year you have learned filial 1 or F1 generation, the generation of progeny, the first generation of progeny. Once again, I will repeat, Mendel crossed. About monohybrid crows we are discussing. In monohybrid crows, at a time we are considering only one pair of contrasting characters. It is a cross involving one pair of contrasting characters. For this he chose height as the character, and he selected a tall pea plant and a dwarf pea plant. He crossed them following the same technique that we already discussed. And once pollination is completed, it led to fertilization, and he collected the seeds form, and then he grew those seeds. And the plants produced by raising these seeds, he called as the F1 generation, first hybrid generation, or filial 1 progeny, or F1 generation. Okay. Then this and all you have learned last year. And you can see in the picture, see the figure, observe the figure. A pure tall plant. In terms of the genes we will learn later, pure tall plant grows with pure dwarf plant. And the seeds produced, he collected and he grew them. And to his surprise, he found that all the members were tall. But he was not knowing about the genetic arrangement of these plants with respect to height at that time. But he externally, what he could observe was all the plants were tall, and not even a single plant was dwarf in the first generation. You want me to repeat? Children, you want me
Yes,
to
ma'am.
repeat? No. It's clear? He crossed a tall pea plant with a dwarf pea plant. He collected the seeds formed by this pollination and he grew them. Upon growing, he found that all the plants produced in the F1 generation were tall. I'm not speaking about the genetic arrangement. Externally, what he could see was that all these plants were tall, and not even one was dwarf. None of them were dwarf, but it involved two parents. One was tall, the other one was dwarf parent. But none of the parents were dwarf like one of their parents. All were tall. Just like the tall parent, they all were tall externally. I'm not telling about, I'm not speaking about the genetic arrangement, which we'll deal later. It is clear? Clear, it is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts? I told it's a little confusing. You clarify and then I'll proceed. Then he made similar observations for other pairs of traits. When he crossed violet and white pea plants with violet and white flowers, or pea plants with axial and terminal flowers. So whichever combinations he tried out, in all the monohybrid crosses, he found that the same pattern was followed. F1 always resembled one of the parents, not both the parents. The offsprings resembled just one parent, and the other character was not at all seen in the F1 generation, the first hybrid generation. He tried out with many characters, considering or concentrating on one character at a time. In all the cases, whether it is height or the seed color, seed shape, pod color, pod shape, position of the flower, everything he tried out, but he could see the same pattern being followed. That is, in the F1 generation, the offsprings resembled only one of their parents, not both of them. One character got expressed in the F1 generation, but the other character was not at all expressed. So what he did was, he selected these F1 plants and he self-pollinated them. So take the case of tall and dwarf. He found that in the F1 generation, all plants were tall. And these plants he self-pollinated. Self-pollinated means, you know, it's a bisexual, it's having the pea plants are having bisexual flowers. So its own pollen grains were dusted on its own stigma. Means no other plant was involved. Self-pollination was carried out to ensure that he want to find out whether the other character has got completely disappeared. I told in the F1 generation, only one character was expressed. The character of the other parent was not seen. So he wanted to investigate it out. What has happened to the other character? So he decided to self-pollinate to raise the next generation to find out what happened to the other character. So to his surprise, he found that in the F2 generation, both characters, tall as well as dwarf plants were produced. But the percentage of the tall plants were more than that of the dwarf plants. But it was also being formed. So the second character, that is the character which was remaining hidden or which did not appear in the F1 generation, appeared in the F2 generation to his surprise. Even though it is not in equal amounts, it was also formed in the F2 generation, which clearly tells that the other character which was not expressed in the F1 generation had not gone anywhere, but it was remaining hidden. And later, because it had disappeared, means in the F2 generation, this won't be expressed. It was lying hidden. And in the F2 generation, it got expressed. We will see what are the reasons for that. Okay. The proportion of the plants that were dwarf, and I told you in F2 generation, both characters were observed, both features were observed, and those plants that were dwarf was just 1/4. Quarter of the plants produced were, if 4 are there, 1 was dwarf. Okay, in that ratio, 1/4 of the plants produced were dwarf and 3/4 were tall. Okay, the character which got expressed in the F1 generation, they were found in 75% in the F2 generation, or 3/4 of the F2 generation had F1 plants. The character produced, expressed in the F1 generation, and 1/4 were exhibited, or 1/4 were the dwarf plants in this particular case. Are you getting it, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Mehek, are you following? Yes. Any doubt? Clarify it now. The tall and dwarf traits were identical to their parental type and did not show any blending. Very, very important. No blending of characters were expressed. All offsprings were either tall or dwarf. No one were having intermediate height. Whether it is F1 generation or F2 generation, when Mendel carried out these experiments, he got either tall plants or dwarf plants. If there was some blending if had taken place, definitely he would have got some plants of intermediate height or medium height plants in the F1 and F2 generation, but that were not produced neither in the F1 nor in the F2 generation. From this, we can understand that there were no blending of characters. These characters were not blended. They remained as such. Either they were tall or dwarf, and no medium height plants were produced. Similar results were obtained with the other traits. Only one of the parental traits was expressed in the F1 generation, where in the F2, both characters were expressed in the ratio 3:1. In this case, 3 tall and 1 dwarf. Or in terms of percentage, you can say 75% tall, 25% dwarf. Or in fraction, you can say 3/4, where 3/4 of the plants were tall and 1/4 were dwarf. Okay, about the genetic arrangement and what made one character to get expressed and the other to remain hidden and all, we'll discuss later. So once again, I'll sum up the points that we learned. Mendel crossed tall and dwarf pea plants for studying the inheritance of one gene. And upon crossing, he collected the seeds produced, and then when he raised, he called the generation. So using the seeds, he raised the plants, and those plants he called as the first hybrid generation or F1 generation or filial 1 generation. And he found that in the F1 generation, only one character was expressed, or else you can say the character of only one parent was expressed in the F1 generation. The character of the other parent were not at all seen in the F1 generation. Out of the two characters he used for crossing, only one character was expressed in the F1 generation. So in this example, when he crossed tall and dwarf plants, all the F1 plants were tall. Not even one plant was dwarf. Okay. And he also, in order to confirm the results, he just tried out the same with other combinations. But in all the cases, not only between the cross between tall and dwarf, when he carried out with other combination of characters, whether it is violet or white flowers or yellow or green seeds, so whatever combinations he tried out, he found the same. That is, in F1 generation, only one of the characters were expressed and the other character was remaining hidden. He made similar observations with the other pairs of traits. F1 always resembled one of the parents, and the other trait was not at all seen. Then, to confirm what has happened to the other character, he self-pollinated these F1 plants. Then, to his surprise, he found that in the F2 generation, both characters were expressed. Both types of plants were there, even though in F1 generation, only one character was expressed. In F2 generation, both characters were expressed in the ratio 3:1. The character which got expressed in the F1 generation were 3/4 of the F2 plants, whereas the character which did not get expressed in the F1 generation, that contributed to 1/4 of the F2 plants. So in F2 generation, both parental characters were expressed. Both types of plants were produced. Tallness as well as dwarfness were expressed. And it was in the ratio 75% tall to 25% dwarf, or in terms of fraction, 1/4 were dwarf and 3/4 were tall. And the ratio is 3:1. 3 tall is to 1 dwarf. And the tall and dwarf traits were identical to their parent type. So when these tall and dwarf plants, which were produced in the F1 and F2 generation, they resemble their parents. Means either they were dwarf or were tall. But intermediate characters like no medium height plants were produced, which indicates that there were no blending of characters. If these characters had blended, so an intermediate character also we could have observed, but that was not there. Mendel couldn't observe any of the intermediate characters. So from that, he understood that there were no blending of these characters did not blend. He tried out with other traits also. He got the same results. And in the F2 generation, both traits were expressed in the ratio 3:1, whereas in the F1 generation, only one of the parental characters were expressed. Okay, now start with the experiment conducted by Mendel. The monohybrid cross. Mehak, you may start. Mendel crossed.
Mendel crossed tall and dwarf pea plants to study the inheritance of one gene.
One gene. Meenakshi, next point.
He crossed one tall plant and the other dwarf plant to study the inheritance, and in the F1 generation, he found that all the plants produced were tall.
What did he call those plants produced in the first generation? Upon crossing, he collected seeds and raised those plants. So that generation he called as the
Filial 1. F1 generation.
F1 generation. And what is special about the F1 generation, Gayatri?
All the plants were tall. Like
All the plants were tall. And what about the other character?
it's like none of them were tall, and
None of them exhibited the other characteristic, that is dwarfness. Then Nandana,
Mendel then self-pollinated the F1 generation plants, and he found
self-pollinated, and he raised the F2 generation. And what he found in the F2 generation, Malaviga, what did he observe?
The proportion of plants was that dwarf was 1/4 of the F2 plants, and the tall
Can you
ones were
speak a
3
little
by.
more louder, Malaviga?
The dwarf ones were 1/4 of the F2 plants, and the tall ones were 3/4 of the F2 plants.
And what was the other finding? In the F2 as well as in the F1 generation, these plants resembled their Punya?
parents, they did not show any intermediate character or blending.
Which means that there were no blending of characters. Whether it is F1 or F2, there were no blending of characters, and they were identical to their parents with respect to that particular character. Okay, is that clear, children? Any doubts? Any doubts, anyone? Michael, Vidur, Naureen, Rijaz, any doubts? Okay, shall we wind up? Okay. Thank you, children.